Hello, everyone. Welcome to Evolve, the place where we'll build one another up and share your opinions, your thoughts, ideas, beliefs, and your feelings, where you will never be outcast for being who you are. Welcome to Evolve this evening. I do apologize. I am still struggling with this cold, and if I get raspy, which I will try not to, but bear with me, and thank you for joining me on tonight's episode. This episode will be on the introduction notes on the Stay Salt book study. So I invite you to journey with me as I discuss the introduction notes on Stay Salt. Like I said, this episode will be on the introduction notes of Stay Salt by Rebecca Manley Pippert. Welcome to the book study. I am your host, Tia Londa. This evening, I will be sharing notes from the introduction, and then we will continue with episode 2 with chapter 1, and then we'll go over the questions and the reflections in chapter 1. But first, let's review the notes from the introduction. In the introduction, Rebecca shares how she and her husband, Dick, engaged in ministry in America. Having lived in Europe previously, she was once interviewed on a radio show in which the host had explained how ministry had changed in America. Not many Christians were more verbal about evangelism. They were more living out the gospel with attending to the needs of the citizens by serving them and within their cities, rather than expressing verbally about their faith. Rebecca had many questions. One in particular was, why were many afraid to share their faith? And that was, our culture is more influenced than ever before. Many just think that the whole gospel and Christ is in our heads. I have struggled with the rejection myself. Many people just don't believe in worshiping what they can't see. And then people actually struggle with sharing the gospel. I am one of them, especially when trying to share it and, sharing in a way that many, can understand. For instance, when I explained in a previous episode about ships, many took it as if I was saying, when I was explaining the situationships and the circumstances ship, I was saying, they was thinking that I was saying that it was in the Bible, when I was simply saying, at the end of words such as friendships or, relationships, there is the word ships, on the end of it in courtship. So I was making an example of not allowing the very enemy, to be welcome within our ships, and how, if not paying attention, how easy it would be for him to enter within our ships. Rather, it be, our friendships, relationships, our situationships, our circumstances ships, our ships, that are important to us can be shaken if not careful. So that was the point I was trying to make. And as I was preparing my notes, I have a habit of placing notes on the side, and that way I can go back and look it up and, look up the scriptures. And, I wanted that done for my listeners to actually look up the scripture themselves. So that's why I didn't on purpose include it within my podcast. I actually, I was always share, if I share a scripture or I quote one or speak about it, I will always share it in the description text of the episode if one is shared. So I like to have my listeners actually read it themselves. I wasn't saying my examples were in the actual scripture. No. But that's why I think it's hard to share, because you have those who will judge how you go about sharing or dialogue. But one thing is true. The gospel doesn't change at all, no matter how many examples you make when trying to get one to understand. It is always one or two, maybe more, on the sideline critiquing you and how you share it. You want to share the gospel with others and even share your experiences of how it has helped you, even how Satan has come in and targeted you. Evangelists, speakers, or leaders, pastors, or whoever is titled or advanced over you, including you, even me, can take part in sharing the gospel. So that is one reason why many don't, share their faith instead of judging. We should, why not take the same person by the hand and we all share it together, so it's a job that we're all asked to do. As Rebecca says, if we are going to reach out with the gospel, we first have to reach in with the gospel into our hearts and minds, not worry with the numbers, techniques, formulas, or manipulation, but mainly on authenticity, credibility, and spiritual power. So why are many struggling, or why do many remain quiet? And number one, like she was saying, many feeling inadequate, unbelief. If I share my faith and God doesn't show he exists or will deliver. Another one is, it's not my calling. So a lot of people think that it's not their calling, so they don't share it, And many may say, I'm just a church attender. It doesn't apply to me. This is one of the reasons, that many don't share their faith. And then another one is, I don't know enough. Well, what if I can't answer questions or explain it or even defend the gospel? How do I help a non-Christian in sharing, in coming to Christ when I share my faith? A lot of them don't, share their faith because of that, because they don't know enough. So, and then another one is lack of confidence. How do I go about it? And where do I start? So these are just, some reasons why. This is why the study of Stay Salt is recommended and why I'm doing it. Because it will encourage us as Christians to learn how we can overcome these very reasons. So, this is the reasons, why it's very important and why I chose Stay Salt. So this is just the notes on the introduction. And what we will do, we will continue with episode 2 with chapter 1, Shut Down on Campus. So if you would like to support this podcast or suggest a topic, or want to be a guest on Evolved, why not send your email to evolvedtopics@gmail.com. And I want to say thank you for joining me, and don't forget to stay with me as we will continue with chapter 1 on episode 2 will be on chapter 1. So this is Yolanda, and until the next time on Evolved, be kind and be safe.